Okay, 94 days out today, speed squat, max upper deadlifts, and if you're wondering why I'm sweaty and a little bit out of breath, I already ran my speed squats. Like, I probably figure it's a little bit boring to watch a fat guy squat multiple sets of a lightweight over and over again. If you guys want to see the full speed squat protocol, let me know and I will put it in next week. But for now, ran 335 this week, so 20-pound jump from last week. Still on the no-hand SSB because it really forces me to have that good ab pack down while not being overhinged, which is what I'm figuring my squat needs right now. And since I've done those already, gonna move on to the max ever pulls. And I got something a little bit fun planned for today.
And if you're new to the channel, this is me documenting everything it has taken and everything it will take to go from ripping my pec off the bone and getting it reattached all the way to hitting my lifetime goals on the platform. So far, we came back from that pec tear in under 9 months to hit an all-time PR total, then started the process of losing over 100 pounds of body weight so that we can build back better, which is what we are working on right now. Not a whole lot of this has been fun or easy, but my hope is by sharing the journey, you will be able to learn something that will make you a better lifter. And more importantly, it will show you that no matter how tough a situation looks, as long as you don't quit on yourself, it will get better.
Because if you guys watched last week's Max Effort Pull Day, we took that little PR off of the little tiny deficit. And next week to close out the wave, I want to take something half decent off of the floor. So the plan for today is to run something that will complement that deficit and set us up for pulling off the floor next week. So today we're going to be running a cute little block pull because the deficit really overemphasizes the leg drive component of my deadlift, but because the position is so compact, I don't really have to fight for that brace and wedge tightness, whereas the block being a little bit more open legged, I really have to work to wedge in, so it should set me up for next week well. And the key to making that block pull really work for carryover to the floor is when I'm going to that elevated bar position, I need to make sure I'm trying to set my torso angle approximately the same as I would be pulling from the ground. That way my legs are a little bit straighter, taking leg drive out of the picture and putting more work into my hips and back. And it's been a while since I block pulled, so I'll be kind of going back and forth and watching the tape back to make sure I'm not doing it like an asshole. Felt appropriate. And the big feedback indicator that you want to be paying attention to when you are running block pulls yourself is whether or not the weight feels harder or easier than it would be from the floor. Because it's feeling easier than it would be from the floor, it's likely that we're doing block pulls with like a cheaty squatting the weight up, super upright torso intent, or our strengths are in a place where we probably should be doing something other than a block pull. And as usual, putting the belt on early so we can figure out the adequate amount of tightness before it really matters. And the most I've ever pulled raw from this height is 715, and I did that last meet prep about 9 weeks out from pulling 754 off the floor. So if I can get anywhere near that today, we're gonna be in a really good spot. So we're gonna be assertive with that pre-tension here, make this guy fly, and then probably go straight to 5. Unless of course it really sucks, but the plan is to not make it really suck. Didn't really suck. And what I gotta do for this one is find a little bit more toe pressure on that wedge just so I'm not floating around with the knees quite as much. And if we smack this, we're gonna take another jump or so. So let's smack it. Thinking I still could be a little bit more deliberate with that wedge, but I'm also thinking more weight should help with forcing me to be more deliberate. So 665, and we better make this one fly. So yeah, plan A, more assertive pre-tension, make it move well enough that we can go up and have it still not go to shit. And it feels like we finally remembered how to wedge off a block, so we are indeed putting more weight on the bar. And the best part about running a block pull is I finally got a valid excuse to not use the deadlift jack. And I was saying earlier that my PR off of this height is 715, but plan A with the 705 is to move it well enough that I know I could PR, but not need to take it. And then plan B is move it so freaking well that we can go up and, again, make it look too easy. And I mean, I am a little bit nervous having 7 on the bar for the first time in a long time on any variation. But as always, we got to use that to hone in and do my job. Woo! I'm gonna watch the tape back and decide what we're doing next, because that felt pretty okay. Gotta wait for Nanis to finish squatting because he's got both pair of 5s on the squat bar, but we're gonna go 735. Never mind, remembered we got 2.5 kilo plates, so that'll be close enough. And I guess it is now fun time.
That rap one word. Money on me. So much money on me. If I got a night, you gon' see some flex and ghost. I'm the man in my city. Same thing in South Dakota, man. Running up that chain. Show you how I do it.
2 weeks, 2 PRs. We are in a freaking good spot right now. Seth.
Sorry?
Seth.
Seth, I'm Army.
Nice to meet you. Got chalk on the.
Good,
Sorry about that.
anyway.
And what I'm thinking now is, because we ran the block pull as the main, I want to make sure that my floor timing still feels okay for next week, since we're going off the floor next week. So instead of stiff legs, we're going to run some Boris pulls.
And I've shown myself over and over again with my own training and everyone in the team that if a lifter has a mid to top end sticking point, running a partial range of motion movement for their main lift of the day can be huge for building strength through that range of motion. But we got to remember, when we're dealing with a raw lifter, we still need to worry about being strong and displaying skill in that bottom end. So if I am going to run a partial range of motion or something top end loaded for my main movement, I'm usually going to couple that with something that lets me touch that bottom end position so I can retain skill and strength there. Because it's not that conjugate can't work for raw powerlifting, it's just that we got to understand what's going on with the lifter in the system so we can apply the right tools. And if you're feeling stuck and stagnated with your current training, hit link below, join the team, because you're going to be able to get daily individualized coaching directly from me so you can build your weak points, refine your skill, and make you more resilient so you can make better progress for the long haul.
But on that first one, block pulls most certainly did their job. So we'll keep her going for number 2. Probably could have pulled in harder on the first rep of that set, so we'll fix that for the next one. So yeah, more assertive with that wedge. That freaking did the trick, so time to go embarrass myself in the leg press. Never mind, the leg press that I want to use is being used, so for the sake of expediency, we're going to run the back extension machine first. And with 3 plates feeling decently hard last week, plan here is to run a 3 again and see if we can tag a few more reps on. Back and hips are still a little bit pumped for the Boris pull, so no promises though. That actually went way freaking better than last week, so pretty happy with that. But butt cheeks are absolutely blowing up, so we're gonna make sure we rest long enough for that to calm down so the next set is still productive. And because set 1 was pretty decent, goal for set 2 is to minimize fall off. freaking stoked. Because you guys remember last week, the hamstring that I tweaked a couple weeks ago was really starting to chatter on these and had zero chatter at all today. So she is absolutely coming around. And good news is, looks like the leg press opened up. Bad news is, upper glute pump is absolutely crippling right now. Like, I wish you could see me trying to walk. I'm not going to show you me trying to walk because it's going to be embarrassing, but very waddly. But running similar plan here as the back extension. So got the one single lonely 45-pound plate because the thing is so disgustingly heavy, and goal is to just do better with the reps than we did last week. And because I'm trying to get carry over to that conventional leg drive, we're running feet nice and low on the platform. Gonna let myself come up onto the tiptoes, get nice and deep into the range, which feels a little bit sticky, so I'm glad we stuck with the same loading. And we'll just shut up and crank them out. Probably going to cut a lot of reps out in the edit because that was a lot of reps, but trust me, it was a lot of reps. So we'll make sure we do a lot of reps on set 2 as well. And I mean, like, with the squat going well on Saturday, I at least have proof that this leg press is very heavy and I'm not just weak as shit only having one plate on here. But time for set 2, which I'm not really looking forward to, because that upper glute pump has definitely migrated into the erectors and they feel like they're about to explode. Whatever, we'll suck it up. Again, probably gonna cut a lot of reps out of the edit because that was a shit ton of reps, but pretty happy with how it felt, like actually smooth out from set 1. So maybe next week we'll do a no plate warm up before we do the real set. Man, oh man, does it suck to be fat again, because back pump is back pumping. And this definitely doesn't check out with any source of anatomy or physiology that I know of. But my plan is now to run some rows and see if we can get the blood pool to migrate upwards into the lats. For that, we're gonna jam on this golden sucker again, because once I realized that it feels a lot better if I'm going lighter and prioritizing squeeze, I'm actually a huge fan of this. Little step up from last week though, so hopefully she stays feeling good. That is wonderful. Update, back pump theory did definitely not work out because it is more intense than it was on the leg press. Oh well, we'll get used to it again one day. And because of the back pumps, I'm going to choose to sit here and let the camera roll during the rest period, so we're not getting a view from the backside today. I apologize. I did back off on cardio intensity a little bit this last week, and the fact that I am blowing up right now with the lower food tells me I probably do need to step it up just a hair again. We'll like not overcook it, find that sweet spot, but I would prefer to not have my back blow up like this. At least we made it through deadlifts though. Back pump theory might be planning out because it feels a little bit less gnarly. Round 2. Still don't want to stand up though. And like all I've tried to do is remember my really fat multiply days when the back pumps were way worse than this, and trying to use that to make me suck it up a little bit more than I want to. True test will be whether I can survive the very long walk all the way over to the back room. Good news is the back pump got a little bit less terrible as we walked over here. And I guess bad news is that we're running GHR sit-ups. And because I'm only prioritizing loading on my squat day, we're gonna pause these in the bottom again and see if we can make them less chattery than the last time around. First rep was chatterier than I wanted it to be, so we'll try to calm that down. And I mean, chatters didn't get that much better, but I think overall quality step up from last week, so I'm at least okay with it. And hoping for a similar deal to last week where the second set cleaned up a little bit from the first. Let's find out if that works out. Maybe a little better. I think a little better. I'll shut up and keep going. Yeah, pretty freaking stoked with that outcome. And I mean, I don't think I could be too much more stoked with the outcome of the day either, because I still don't know how much of it was the food pullback, how much of it was the volume pullback, but holy freaking shit, I am feeling like me again. And the fact that deadlifts are PR strong right now, squats still got a little ways to go, bench, like, we probably could have taken some PRs, but decided not to avoid risk that everything get funky. But I think sitting here right now, I am getting very, very, very confident that we can put together a really solid meet prep. And the biggest thing that I need to do right now is just not get too excited again and have a little snaggle or dig myself into a fatigue hole. So as long as we can keep these top sets looking too easy, and on a day where it comes to the point where we are feeling a little bit fatigued, I just need to remember that that single day doesn't matter, and all I need to do is lift the right amount to let me move forward, and we're going to keep this rolling. And that's going to be the hardest part right now, is having that little bit of restraint so we're not stacking too much weight on the bar too fast, because the biggest thing in meet prep is we need to be able to build momentum week after week after week. We need to be able to stack progress back to back to back to back as long as we can, and the longer we can stack that progression, the better outcome we'll have. And it is tempting to try to speed up the progression, but the thing is if we speed it up too fast and we do end up overstepping, we're going to have to step back, and if I can avoid stepping back for as long as possible, that is going to give us the best day on the platform. So my job right now is to continue making those smart choices, as much as I kind of hate making them, because if we can do the smart thing instead of the hard thing, we'll be able to train harder in the long term. But that is what I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out, have a good night, and I will see you in the team.